This informational session will give you a better understanding of what the Guardian Ad Litem program does, why it is important, and how you can help give a child a voice. The Guardian Ad Litem program for the 15th Judicial Circuit covers all of Palm Beach County. Children look to their families to provide love and support, but sometimes families are in crisis and parents are unable and in some cases unwilling to provide the environment their child or children need to soar and reach their destiny. The lack of a healthy environment can take on many forms. It may be that a child is being deprived of a healthy diet or a clean living environment. It could be that discipline goes beyond what a reasonable person would deem appropriate. Of course, in severe cases, it could mean that a child is being abused in the worst ways imaginable. The adults that are supposed to protect and nurture are sometimes ill-equipped, and in these cases, when the child welfare system becomes involved, children need an adult they can trust. Jenny is an 11-year-old girl whose teacher called into Florida's state abuse hotline to report that when and if Jenny comes to school, she is frequently complaining of hunger. She has a difficult time concentrating in class, her grades are slipping, and most recently she has come to class with visible bruising on her right arm. Jenny told her teacher that the bruising was from falling off of her bike. The teacher met with Jenny's mom to discuss his concerns. The mother indicated that Jenny was just a forgetful child and kept forgetting to bring her lunch bag to school, and that the bruise to Jenny's arm was from falling down on the porch steps. The teacher also noticed bruising on the mother's right side of her face. Due to the conflicting stories and some of the signs of domestic violence being present, the teacher was required to make a report to the abuse hotline. The Department of Children and Families sent out a Child Protection Investigator, or CPI, to interview the family and understand the allegations. The CPI determined the domestic violence allegations to have merit and felt as though it was in the best interest of the child to be removed from the home because the mother was allowing the father to physically abuse the child and she was unwilling to tell the father to leave the home. Jenny was placed in a licensed care foster home and was declared a dependent of the state until such time as the parents complete or don't complete specific tasks in order to rehabilitate their parenting abilities. That time period can last upwards of 12 to 24 months for an average case. The quest for these dependent children, then, is to ensure the unalienable right of each child to thrive, not just survive, and to live a life of destiny as opposed to one of fate. It is society's fundamental obligation to ensure the basic human rights of a child to live in a safe and loving environment, in a nurturing home where they can thrive and succeed. The solution is the Guardian Ad Litem program. Each state has its own program, and in the state of Florida, it is referred to as Guardian Ad Litem, or GAL. In some other states, the program is known as CASA, or Court Appointed Special Advocates. Since its inception over 30 years ago, the Florida GAL program has represented over 125,000 abused and neglected children statewide in Florida's dependency courts. Currently, the Florida GAL program represents on average over 27,000 children statewide at a time throughout its 20 judicial districts. Palm Beach County makes up the 15th Judicial District, and they have a compensated staff of 30 made up of directors, attorneys, case supervisors, administrative assistants, and a recruiting training staff that supports and trains about 500 GAL volunteers, which is hopefully you.
I am for the child who has been abused, the child who is afraid to go home,
who thinks it's her fault,
who's forced to keep a secret or else.
I am for the child who has been neglected,
The child who does not know where his next meal is coming from.
Who must fend for herself and her little sister.
Alone.
Alone. The child who has never been to a doctor or a dentist.
I am for the child who was taken away
For her own protection.
The child who is now in foster care. Who does not know how long he'll be there.
Or who these people are.
Or if she should trust them. I am for her.
the child who is in his third,
4th,
5th.
6th foster home this year.
The child who has attended 4 schools in 2 years.
Who sits in back of yet another class surrounded by strangers.
believing in his heart that no one
cares. I'm for her. The child who has never been told
that he is loved,
that she is smart, beautiful,
Talented.
worthy.
that she is strong,
courageous,
That she is somebody. I am for her.
The child who one day will turn 18 and will be surrendered to the world.
I am for that child.
So I am there for that child.
To listen to her,
to speak for her,
to champion without compromise for what's in his best interest.
Because if I am,
If I am there for her, I know she will be half as likely to languish in foster care.
and that much more likely to find a safe, permanent home.
she is the child I am for.
He is the child I am for.
They are the children I am for.
She is the child I am for.
the child I am for is him.
Who am I?
Who am I?
Who am I?
I am a volunteer child advocate.
I am you.
This chart demonstrates some of those who are involved in the case. Of course, in addition to this chart, there are a variety of foster parents, group homes, psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, medical doctors, judges, and teachers. In the center is the child or set of siblings in dependency care. After all, the case is all about them. DCF assigns a case manager to each child or set of sibling children to manage all of the child's needs and make appropriate referrals for them and any involved parent. The DCF case manager appears at all court hearings along with an assigned DCF attorney. The two of them together make a team in court proceedings. DCF case managers typically have a very large caseload. In some cases, the child or children are also assigned their own attorney to represent what the child wants. Other people involved in the case include each biological parent and their attorney. In many cases, there can be multiple sets of parents and attorneys, all of whom represent the parent's legal rights. This seems like a lot, and hearing all of this for the first time can be really intimidating. Rest assured, you are not expected to do this all alone. Your team is made up of 3 roles. Aside from you, the gal volunteer, you also have an attorney and a case advocacy coordinator. The gal volunteer represents the child's best interest. Each gal best interest attorney works with 2 different child advocacy coordinators who oversee approximately 76 gal volunteers that represent about 200 children. At the end of the day, the gal volunteer is highly relied upon for their personal knowledge of the child or children in their assigned case. As you may have realized, it is impossible for the attorney to know every aspect of 200 children's lives, just as it is near impossible for the case supervisors to know 100 children. Your case supervisor is the person who oversees your case and has information about the various parties involved in the case. This is the person you will send your required court documentation to. They are your go-to person for questions. The GAL is a well-trained, court-appointed volunteer who visits with the child, the caregivers, the parents, teachers, case managers, therapists, all those cogs in the wheel that feed into the child's life. The guardian then reports to the court their recommendations for what the GAL believes will yield the most positive outcome for the child or children involved in the proceedings. In many cases, this can mean family reunification. In other cases, it could mean placement with a foster or adoptive family. The guardian has to take his or her role seriously, as the court takes the guardian's recommendations seriously. As a GAL volunteer, you are taking on serious responsibilities when you accept a case. We ask that you commit to your case for its entirety. GAL volunteer duties can last anywhere from 1 to 2 years, and it is not unheard of for the GAL volunteer to be the only consistent adult in the child's life over that period of time. Commit to visiting the child or children a minimum of every 30 days. The 15th Judicial District has 3 courthouses which hear the dependency cases: Palm Beach County, Delray Beach, and Belle Glade. Cases are assigned to the courthouse in which the child's parents reside at the time the children are taken into care. However, the children can be placed anywhere in Palm Beach County, and sometimes it is not possible that siblings get placed together. Therefore, you could have one child in a foster home in Delray Beach and a sibling in a North County group home. Both of the children have to be visited a minimum of every 30 days. Be prepared to commit to completing and submitting timely monthly visit reports and semi-annual judicial reviews on your case. We also ask that you allot an average monthly time commitment of between 10 and 15 hours when you are first given a case. The time you put in will be greater as you get acquainted with the child and the others involved in the case. As you get acclimated to the players, however, and set up your visitation schedule, ensuring you see your child or children every 30 days at the very least, the time commitment may be less. Each case is unique and the time commitment varies. Commit to attending court dates. This is extremely important. Your court dates will typically be set prior to you accepting your case, and they tend to be set at least 2 weeks and up to 6 months in advance. We ask that you make a note of the court dates and be sure to attend, as you may be expected to summarize your findings or give your recommendations verbally in court. Remember, the GAL Best Interest Attorney has about 200 children. They rely on you to provide detailed information on your child or children. A dependent child is hugely impacted by their GAL volunteer. The child is more likely to be adopted, find a safe and permanent home, pass all educational courses, and get services ordered for them, and they're less likely to have poor school conduct and half as likely to re-enter foster care. Dependent children thriving can be near impossible because of the constant turnover of the adults that are supposed to be there for them. Ashley Rhodes Corder was involved in Florida's child welfare and foster system for many years, and her experience is a prime example. She was adopted, found a forever family, has since aged out of care, and written a memoir documenting her experiences. The book is called 3 Little Words, and in the final chapter of her book, Ashley recounts the number of people involved in her case. 73 child welfare administrators, 44 child welfare caseworkers, 19 foster parents, 17 psychologists, psychiatrists, and therapists, 5 guardian ad litem staff, 4 judges, 4 court personnel, 3 abuse registry workers, 2 primary case workers, and 1 guardian ad litem volunteer. There were a total of 195 people, yet Ashley says her gal volunteer was one of the consistent people who made the greatest difference in her life. At any given time in Palm Beach County alone, there are approximately 1,500 children involved in dependency court. These children all need someone who will look at their case, ask questions, take an interest in what is in the child's best interest, and make recommendations on the child's behalf to positively impact their young life. As it stands, our volunteer base can only cover about 70% of the need, and the remainder of the children have no voice. The need is great and can only be solved with more volunteers to ensure that all children involved in this program are given a voice in the dependency court system. Have you decided if you are for the child? The requirements to become a gal volunteer in Palm Beach County include: to be considered, candidates must be at least 21 years old. You must attend and complete a 30-hour training program. The training is typically conducted at the gal office in the main Palm Beach County Courthouse building. Your recruiting host today will provide you with the next training class dates and times. You must possess a strong desire to help children. You must demonstrate good judgment and common sense. We ask that you possess good interpersonal communication skills. You will be expected to communicate with diverse populations and then summarize those interactions in your written reports. We ask that you have good basic computer skills. You will be provided report templates that you will open, update, save, and transmit electronically to your case supervisor. Though there is the option of completing these manually and mailing or hand-delivering the completed reports to the gal office, the preferred method of completion and transmission is electronic. Additionally, case updates, assessments, etc. are transmitted electronically. As part of your application process, you are asked to submit 3 references, which will be verified as part of your screening process. In addition, you will need to submit to a fingerprint screening and FBI background check because the GAL program wants to ensure the safety of the children in its care. If you are for the child and would like to become a court-appointed advocate, these are the next steps. You will interview with a recruiter and provide a completed application, interview questionnaire, authorization for background check, and have 3 written references completed on your behalf. Secondly, you will register and attend a 30-hour training class. Typically, training classes are made up of 4.5 training days, 2 one week and 2 the following week, followed by court observation. Attendance to all 4 classes is mandatory. During your training class, you will be asked to report to the nearest Palm Beach Sheriff's Office to submit your fingerprints. Usually, the Wednesday following completion of the 4 training days, you will complete your court observation at Palm Beach County Courthouse. The training class is part of the screening process. The recruiter conducting this information session can provide you with the upcoming dates and times of the next training class. Once you have completed all of the requirements and all screening components have been submitted and reviewed, you will become a certified Palm Beach County GAL volunteer. You will meet with our Assistant Circuit Director, have a case assigned, and at that time, you will also be provided with the contact information for your case advocacy coordinator. Maybe you have listened to all of the information presented today and you feel as if you want to volunteer with our organization, but you want to use your expertise in areas other than advocacy. That is also greatly welcomed and needed. We have so many opportunities for service. There are endless non-advocacy opportunities for you to bring your passion to help children in dependency care, such as fundraising, recruiting, general office support, technical support, and special events. You will still be required to complete the screening process because as a volunteer, you will have access to confidential information about the children in our care. We welcome the contribution of any type of assistance you, as a volunteer, feel comfortable providing. Most importantly, if you have friends, colleagues, or relatives you think would make great GAL volunteers, please refer them to our program. Did you know that there are greater than 1,500 kids in Palm Beach County alleged to be victims of abuse, neglect, or abandonment?
Fewer than 80% of those children are afforded a guardian ad litem.
That leaves these children with no voice in the court system.
Guardians ad litem represent the best interest of children involved in abuse cases.
We are information gatherers, advocates, and monitors who visit the child, review relevant records, interview persons involved in the child's life, and submit best interest recommendations to the court.
Without a guardian, these children are more likely to languish in foster care.
It is time for you to speak up for our county's most vulnerable. Call 561-355-6224 or visit www.galpbc.org for more information. You can make a difference in a child's life. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the Guardian Ad Litem program and the opportunities we have for you to make a difference in a child's life through our advocacy program. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have.